So I kind of want to begin this video by kind of apologizing, but not really. I apologize for the format of this video if it bothers people or if it's hard to view on phones or laptops or such. But I don't really want to apologize too much because, to be quite honest, this is the easiest way for me to make these videos. And it's easy for me to just record it and put it out there as quickly as I can. And it's way easier than the usual format that I do, which is that I live record on Zoom and I show you my screen and I show you what I'm talking about. That just takes more time for me. It takes more scripted and notes and getting everything ready. And right now, I am in the last quarter of university and I am really, really super busy. But I do think that it's important to make these videos and just put them out there. So right now, this is the easiest format for me. Okay. I did a long format video regarding like the police department in Oxnard, but that took like an hour. It took like 3 hours to film. It just, I don't even have time to like edit and put it out there. I'm telling you, this format is just easier for me. Okay. So please bear with me. Anyway, let's just get into it because it's kind of a lot. So regarding the water hikes increase in Oxnard, right? Before we get into that, I want to quickly just kind of like touch on something else that was mentioned in that same city council meeting, because this water ordinance thing got passed on Tuesday, or it got passed because today's Thursday. So I believe on Tuesday at the city council meeting, I tuned in a little bit late to the live stream. But when I tuned in, I caught this thing that I'm about to talk about. And I want to talk about it because it pertains to my overall message of this video, which is that the city of Oxnard doesn't pay attention to what the people actually need and instead wastes money on things that we don't need. And then stuff like this happens and we end up paying for it. Okay, so when I tuned into the city council meeting on Tuesday, like I said, late, I caught that there was a presentation of some sort going on where essentially they were talking about this trash thing, that the city has to be in compliance of it. But most of the city is, but there's a large sector of the city that is not in compliance. This sector is actually 90% or almost 90% non-compliant with this ordinance. And the sector that they were talking about that is not compliant with this are mostly apartment complexes. Apartment complexes in Oxnard not being compliant with certain trash ordinances. Yeah, I could have told you that. In fact, we have been telling you that. As a matter of fact, people have been complaining, especially about the apartment complexes here in South Oxnard, specifically the ones in Cuesta del Mar or South Winds, whatever you want to call it, how they would rather, the landlords would rather let people, families, children live in filth, having trash strewn everywhere because the trash bins are overflowing, because they do not want to take out a single cent out of their pockets that they are lining with the people's money that they're renting from. They would rather have them live in filth than waste a single penny that they're trying to profit off of people to keep actually like the trash areas in these apartment complexes up to code and up to ordinance as per the city, or as per California regulations. Actually, we've been complaining about that, you see. And this I'm telling you, this pertains because this is just one more example of how the people have been complaining and saying, hey, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. And the city's just like, we don't care, we don't, whatever. And then it turns into a bigger problem. And then all of a sudden, it's a problem that's impacting the city in some way. Either it's making them lose money through like fees that they have to pay, or it's just making them look bad. Now all of a sudden they care. Now all of a sudden they're out here door to door trying to talk to people. Hey, maybe you should be doing this. But we've been telling you about that though. and you didn't care. And it's not that a lot of these city people or city officials, city council people didn't know, because first of all, not knowing something that's going on in your district, I'm so sorry to tell you, but that's not an excuse, because that's literally your job. That's your job. That's why you were elected to that specific district. That's why this whole thing about districts was created, essentially. So that people, instead, because before it was anybody could run for city council, whatever, anybody could get elected, represent Oxnard as a whole, but they changed it so that it's districts now. If you live in District 6, you run for District 6. If you live in District 4, you run for District 4. Why? Because they want, at the core concept of that, is that they want people from different districts that know what's going on in their district, that know people in their district, to represent that area. So I'm sorry, you not knowing about what's going on in your district, about something so important that people actually need in your district, that's not an excuse. That's your job. That's why you were elected. Okay? Secondly, well, but anyway, people still want to use that excuse. Oh, I didn't know. No. And sometimes it's not even that. They know. Like, for example, this whole trash thing, or this whole apartment complex thing, a lot of us, I think around 2020, 2021, I think it was around 2020, because this was when the pandemic was kind of first starting, we actually emailed Vianney Lopez, who then was a District 6 person, city council person. We emailed her to let her know something that was going on with the apartment complex, specifically the one behind Wanimi High School, and what that landlord was doing. Which, first of all, that landlord was, for some reason, padlocking areas of the trash, like literally padlocking them. So people couldn't really access trash, throw away trash, whatever. But also, these were also exits. So God forbid, in some type of emergency, the people in these apartment complexes would be trapped because it's padlocked. So we emailed her letting her know about that. And also, and I mentioned that it was at the height of the pandemic, or the beginning of the pandemic, I should say. I mentioned that because at this time, right, it was very broadcasted, you should be washing your hands, keeping everything sanitized. Well, this same landlord, for some reason, was shutting off and had the hot water off for that apartment complex. So there were units and tenants that didn't have hot water for like a month or 2 months, where they couldn't wash their hands, they couldn't shower, they couldn't even cook sometimes in some situations. And we emailed her to let her know about that. And you know what she said? Oh, well, there's nothing really I can do. And if you bring this up at a city level, you know what? They're just going to shut down those apartment complexes. The fire department's going to shut them down. And where are those people going to live? I don't know, baby. Let me think. Maybe y'all can start a lawsuit and sue the hell out of that landlord. So then that landlord has to pay for those people in the units that are affected, so that those people can live in a hotel or motel while the landlord does maintenance on those units in that apartment complex. Because guess what? That's what we did. We did, regular folk. Years ago, we unionized because a local apartment complex, the landlord was not fixing things that should have been fixed. We sued the hell out of the landlord. We won. The landlord had to pay for those people and the units affected to go move out and move into a hotel or motel during the time that the landlord had to fix those apartments. We did that. And by any means, we were no one. We were regular folk. But you mean to tell me that a city council member who works for the city, who loves to humble brag about, oh, Monique Limon is my friend, and future leaders of America, and rubbing shoulders with the Ventura County Democrats, you can't do that? But we got it done? Okay. Oh, and guess what? In that instance, yeah, some of us, we contacted the fire department. Right away, they said, hey, take those padlocks off. Problem solved. But the city council, they couldn't do that. Right? But anyway, my main message of that is that, first of all, it's not an excuse not to know what's going on in your district because it's your job. Secondly, they know. They just don't care because it doesn't affect them. Not until this happens. See, we've been complaining about the trash situation in these apartment complexes, but they didn't give a damn. They started giving a damn once someone above them started to be like, hey, the city of Oxnard, actually, y'all aren't in compliance with whatever you have to be in compliance with regarding trash cans. And it seems to be that the apartment complexes are mostly who is not in compliance. What's up with that? And now all of a sudden they care. When we've been telling you that these apartment complexes don't give a damn about the trash situation for their tenants. But you didn't care. It wasn't your problem until it was. And now you're making it everyone's problem. Now all of a sudden you want to put resources into going, we're going door to door, we're knocking, we're talking to people. Now you want to talk to people. Now you want to go door to door. Now you want to see what's going on when we've been telling you, hey, that's a damn problem. And it's the same thing with the water thing. You see, they've been knowing that that water facility over there going to Ventura, like by the Ventura Harbor or whatever, they've been knowing that that thing needs millions of dollars in repair and maintenance. The city has been knowing that Oxnard, the water infrastructure sucks and that it needs repair. They've been knowing that for years. Years. They've been knowing that. Oh, but hey, guess what? Monique Limon gave us a $5 million check to build a swimming pool behind Oxnard College for the kids. Ask me how much money they put into other stuff, silly stuff that we don't need. You know how much the police department gets annually? Do you know how much? Do you know how much the police chief gets paid annually? Salary, benefits, everything? $500,000. I'll tell you. You don't have to Google it. $500,000. You see, they have money for these other silly goose things. But for the things that we've been complaining about, hey, this is a problem. Hey, this is a problem. Hey, this is a problem. Oh, they don't care. They don't want to hear it. They don't care. Because it's not a problem to them. Until it is. Until someone above them checks them, usually at a state level, and says, hey, you know what, that's a problem. And then they want to have their little city council meetings and be like, oh, you know what, guys, this is a problem. Oh my gosh. We've been telling you that, though. We've been telling you that this is a problem. You just didn't care until someone made it your problem. And now guess who has to pay for it? We do. We have to pay for you being a silly little goose. Oh, $5 million for a swimming pool, guys. We did it. Instead of actually being like, hey, Monique Limon, if that's your best friend, that's your pally pal. You can't be like, hey, you know what? The city of Oxnard, especially the kids, could really use those $5 million in this other stuff. But hey, you know what? No, we need a $5 million pool. That's actually going to cost more than $5 million. Hey, we need to give the police chief $500,000 a year. The city of Oxnard doesn't actually care, or they're so out of tune. They're over here rubbing shoulders with other city people that they don't actually understand what the city needs. And they don't care to understand because a lot of us try to tell them what the issues are, and they don't care until it's their problem, and then they make it our problem, and then we have to pay for their mistakes. That's the city of Oxnard.